Hi folks, welcome to another edition or the restart of the vlog series. What used to be Friday High Five Features has now turned into a project that I'm calling my Book DNA project, mapping the connections of all the books that I've read since I can remember. And I want to tell you and I want to share with you why I've chosen these books. So, rewind a couple of months ago at South by Southwest. I had a wonderful opportunity to see Tom Webster present on his music DNA project and how one album connected to another and how they've molded and shaped his life. Simple songs can recall memories. Some songs will never be heard again. And I thought, music speaks to me, but it doesn't speak to me like books speak to me. And one insomniac crazed night, I decided to list down all of the books that I could ever remember that had an impact on me, and how one book choice led to another. How some books I will reread on a seasonal basis or when I'm feeling a specific emotion. Some books I'll never reread again, not because they were horrible, but because of the emotions that were welling up inside of me as I read the story. What books would I recommend to another person? All of these things I wanted to share with you. So, hence, my book DNA project. So rather than have one really huge blog post, because let me tell you, I have about 200 to 250 books to share, and that's just a snippet, I decided, well, why not just restart the vlog series and share 5 books a week? So we're going to start with the first 5 books. I'll keep it short, sweet, and don't worry, we'll get past the children's book phase. But I want to encourage you, even as an adult, and even if you don't have any children, to look at these books again, because sometimes the simplest the simplest stories are the most profound. So, without further ado, the first book on the list, The Monster at the End of This Book. And you know what? This is the original. I've had this since I was 4 years old. And what I loved about this book is, even as an adult, I worry about everything. I was always scared about everything as a kid. And Grover, forget Elmo, Grover, had those same worries and fears. And it turned out that he was just, you know, scared of himself and of the unknown. And this is something that, a book that I now read to my kids that I'm like, wow, as an adult, that's incredibly powerful and something that I need to keep reminding myself. Next on the list. I wasn't a big Dr. Seuss fan actually until I was an adult. I guess because I read Dr. Seuss, don't get me wrong, but I guess the things that were hidden between the lines, I think I grasped easier as an adult. So, but this as a kid was one of my favorite books, Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss, because you can't be picky and you need to, not judge things before you actually experience them. And that's a great lesson for life. Next book, this is very, very precious to me. I've had this also since I was about 4 years old. It was actually a gift from my preschool teachers. And this book was given to me by my preschool teachers because my dad was in the Air Force and he had to travel quite a bit when I was younger. And like many other little girls out there, I was a daddy's little girl and I missed him quite a bit when he was gone. And so my mom would read me this book and I would feel closer to him. And, instead of a paper hug and a kiss today, we have email and Skype and IM. And it just shows that books and stories, cross, any boundary. Another book that I've had for quite a while, you can see the wear and tear, is Pat the Bunny. And this is something that I read to my girls now as well. It's an incredibly simple story, and it's all about using your senses. But the part that kind of makes me quite emotional and makes me want to cry every single time, especially when my girls do it, is there's the part in the book where you put your finger through mommy's ring. And I remember when my finger was able to fit through that opening, and it no longer does, but my girls do. And one day they'll wear rings of their own and perhaps read this book to their children and share those simple stories and understand that you have to have all of the senses put together to have an experience. Last but not least, on today's book DNA, The Beginning, first 5, we've got the Little Miss and Little Mister series. Now, as a kid, I wanted a character, some type of doll that had dark hair like I did, glasses, and awkward, not the, Barbie blonde look. And I was so happy when I found the Little Miss and Mister series in our library, especially Little Miss Contrary, which happens to resonate with me both as a kid and an adult. But the Little Miss and Mister series, something that has, come back in popularity again today. But it's a great, set of books that really focus on social behavior issues. One simple thing, the moral of the story, and you learn at the end, what consequences those social behaviors have. So the Little Miss, Little Mister series, girls or boys alike, I really encourage you to read these stories to your children, read these stories to yourselves, and start to think about the social behaviors that you emulate and how it affects others, the consequences of your actions. So that today, folks, wraps up the very first installment of the Book DNA project. I'll come at you again next Friday and we'll discuss a whole new set of books. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Bye.